You're listening to the Station 71 podcast with your hosts Mario,
Beth,
Brian,
and Kirsten.
So, first and foremost, let's say welcome back to Kirsten because it's been a very long time without her, and this is super exciting. So, welcome back, Kirsten. We missed you a lot.
Yay!
woohoo!
So, this week we are kind of taking a suggestion from a listener. I realized after I read this that this is totally not what they were asking. But one of our listeners, Vanessa, asked if we could do an episode about a non-park day showcasing all the other stuff you can do in Disney if you can only afford a one-day park ticket and want a little bit more of a laid-back vacation. So we're kind of going to discuss some of the non-Disney park offerings and some stuff you can do if maybe you don't have a ticket to the parks. But first, as always, let's talk about the news. So, there are two things that we really want to discuss this week. And first, let's start with the hottest news story. The Maleficent dragon. I'm doing so good with those puns lately. But the Maleficent dragon head float for Festival of Fantasy has caught fire in the last week. That was a huge thing on social media in the last couple days. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think that it's going to return? Do you think that they're going to do anything about it?
I mean, it's gotta come back. That's like the highlight of the parade.
Yeah, and they don't have a night parade, so I feel like they have to have, they can't, I don't know, they're ruining their nighttime entertainment options, so they have to have Festival of Fantasy. I feel like they will return with better protocols in place, because watching the video, it didn't feel like anybody was really prepared for that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I totally agree with that, and it looked really scary because the fire was super close to where the actual driver sits. So I don't know. There's got to be something that they're going to do about this.
Well, and I was thinking it was super close to the trees, and what if that tree had caught on fire and people are standing right under it as ash is falling down, and yeah, it seemed kind of traumatizing.
I didn't even think of that. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
God.
I was just gonna say, I'm surprised in a way that it hadn't happened sooner, because this parade's been going for 4 years with that float. But I'm also surprised that it happened at all, because I feel like Disney should have had that under control.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking when this whole first thing happened. I was like, really, this is the first time? And then I thought about it, and I was like, I'm surprised that this even happened. But I was also reading one theory, and I kind of wanted to tell you guys about this because I know you might enjoy it. But there was a theory going on online that they won't do the fire, but they'll do a smoke thing, and maybe if they do it at night, they could add green LEDs or something to make it look like it's breathing green fire. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if that's a viable replacement, but I also kind of feel like fire might not be in their options after this.
Well, I would hope that they would still try to do the fire at least, and maybe just in a safer manner. I mean, I haven't seen what exactly caused this, but it is kind of, it's the big shebang at the end of the parade. It would be missing a lot without it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they need to, because I just feel like, and what did I just read about them removing or no more fun at Whispering Canyon Cafe, and then there was something else that they're taking out, and it just seems like, okay, why are you removing all of these things over and over? We need something fun. I think they need the fire for sure.
Yeah, so let's actually take that perfect opportunity to segue into our next news story, which was about the antics at Whispering Canyon. This broke out earlier this week where they said that, a very vague tweet was released by Walt Disney World in response to someone saying that they're updating Whispering Canyon Cafe. The original tweet had said that there was a rumor going around that there wasn't going to be as much of a fun atmosphere with all the antics that they do anymore. And Walt Disney World tweeted back and said that they were constantly updating the program or whatever, which caused everyone to freak out and think that meant that they were going to stop all of the crazy antics. Apparently, there was an update to this news story that they were just asked to turn the volume down, which is still, to me, says that they may end up eventually stopping those antics. How do you guys feel about this before I say anything?
Terrible. I mean, I'm just gonna come back with a bang. I think it's awful. Like, if you go to a restaurant like that, you're supposed to have fun. I just feel like it's a few families who are like, I don't know, uptight, and like actually need the vacation and like don't enjoy it or something, but don't eat there if you don't want that. It's the same thing as if they stopped doing that kind of thing at 50s primetime. I would be so disappointed. Like, that's why you go.
Yeah, I completely agree with Kirsten on this one. Because, I mean, I like it. I think it's a great restaurant, but it's not like it's a fine dining location that they are doing this at. It's a family restaurant. I think it has very good food, but it's like a family restaurant with kind of a fun theme. And when you take that away, you're not really left with much.
Well, I've never eaten here. Could you guys do a rundown of what the antics involve exactly?
Oh, that's a good point.
So, I guess we can kind of talk about this, because Brian and I purposely left this vague on our resort show, I think it was. Or at one point that we had talked about it. But there were things that the wait staff did that was just over-the-top goofy and just tons of fun. The big one that everyone talks about is the ketchup. Mm-hmm. So, if you're at a table, you ask a waiter for ketchup, they will yell, "We need ketchup." And everyone that is at the table that has all of the ketchup will run all of the ketchup bottles in the restaurant to your table. So It's stuff like that. Like, one time we went there and my cousin ordered a soda. He drank it really quick. And the waiter was like, yeah, I see that you're really thirsty. You want a large soda? He was like, sure. And he came back with a huge mason jar. And
that happened to my father-in-law.
Yeah, like
with
stuff
tea,
like that.
Yeah, it's just I was gonna tell that story too. Like, yeah, that's just funny. I don't know, very similar to how they make you set your own table at 50s primetime.
Right, and it's the stuff like that make that restaurant worth it. Like, their food is good. I will say that. In that same episode, Brian and I talked about the barbecue skillet thing that they have. That's like so good and so much food. But honestly, you go to this restaurant for the entertainment. Now, that said, to play devil's advocate on this whole topic, the placement of that restaurant is really weird. So I can see how someone sitting in the lounge might be, like, a little turned off by the noise. But at the same time, I feel like you should know what you're getting into with that being so close.
Yeah. It is kind of in the lobby, I guess, and...
But I've sat in that lobby many times and never been disturbed, because when I was on my college program, one of my friends was like a host there, and I would go there anyway because I just liked the resort, and I never noticed it being overly loud, in the lobby area.
Well, and the funny thing, to an earlier point that you had made about how you know that this is where you're going, and if you don't want that kind of experience, don't go there. They have a program where you can say, hey, I don't want the antics at my table, or I don't want to be involved in that. And you get a card that basically tells your waiter, like, don't mess with this table. So it's not like they didn't have programs in place. It just feels like there's something more,
Why would you bother if you went there, like, and didn't want that experience?
I guess if somebody didn't know.
Official wet blanket on it, I think. When
And can I add something? This isn't really news, but it's something interesting that I found out the other day.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Do y'all know who Lee Cockrell is?
It sounds familiar.
Well, you probably know Dan Cockrell. He was the vice president of Magic Kingdom up until earlier this year, and then he's been general manager of Magic Kingdom, vice president of Hollywood Studios, all kinds of stuff. He's a long career in Disney, but his father, Lee Cockrell, also had a long career with Disney. He retired in 2006. He was the executive vice president for Walt Disney World, and he had positions before that. But anyway, he has a podcast, So I didn't know that. My husband told me, and he's listened to, I think, a couple episodes. I haven't listened to it yet so far, but I thought if people are interested in like that kind of thing, that would be another good podcast to listen to. He's written a few books on customer service and that type of thing, and his podcast is called Creating Disney Magic. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, check it out.
Nice.
As soon as you said the name of the podcast, I was like, yep, that's exactly where I've heard his name before. It's really good. Definitely check it out. But someone just added a couple more news stories to this, so let's throw them in there too. Another thing that Disney is now apparently taking away, Talking Mickey. If you guys haven't heard, Talking Mickey has been silenced. He still does the meet and greet in the same location. He just no longer has a voice.
I'm okay with that.
I'm
Really?
not.
I
That was just like one of the coolest experiences for me. Like Disney, when I go, if I haven't like one experience where I get to feel like a child and like, I don't know, get the magic that I don't understand, or I don't know, something magical happens, that is just like the highlight for me. And this was that for me on one trip, was meeting with Talking Mickey. And I just think it's such a bummer that they're canceling this.
I'm interested to know why Kirsten is okay with this.
Well, I mean,
know
I
Well,
don't-
Kirsten
you're
doesn't
not-
like characters.
I was just about to say, I know you're not the character person,
and
but
it's
is there
freaky.
like... Okay.
Like, I get that it's cool, and I wouldn't, like, I'm not mad about them keeping it, but I'm also not mad about them not keeping it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty bummed about this, but at least, like, I guess I just kind of wanted to throw this topic in there because, like Brian said, wet blanket status with the whole them endings antics at Whispering Canyon Cafe rumor. So I was like, well, here's another wet blanket topic.
I mean,
We're like so negative this week already.
well, and to say, I will say I'm not a fan of if the reason behind this is cost savings, because I know it was more expensive, like with the friend of Mickey is specially trained and the character attendant has to be specially trained, and then there's somebody backstage, you know, helping Mickey talk who also is specially trained. So if
Yeah.
that's the reason, like, then that's no.
Because I'm
Yeah.
not buying this whole, oh, well, the other Mickeys in the park don't talk, so this one won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels kind of weak.
I mean, like, I feel like it's pretty obvious that not every princess looks identical. This isn't any different, in my opinion.
Right.
That's a really good point. I haven't heard that one. Do you want to throw this other news story in here, Beth? Because I saw you type that out, and I have no idea what that is. So
Okay, well, we'll stop being negative now because I'm really actually like nerdily excited about this. They announced a few days ago that they're having packages offered for adults now called Character Couture, which is basically, it's going to be a Bibbity Bobbity Boutique makeover for adults. And maybe this is me just being like the ultimate nerd, but every time I see those little girls with the glitter in their hair and like the extreme makeup and stuff, I'm like, why can't I have that? Why can't they offer something like that for adults? And now they do. But you can actually, according to the article, it's more than just a princess type makeover. You could also do villains, members of the Fab Five, galactic styles, and hero/heroine styles.
I'm
So,
down. I would totally do this.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like there's definitely a demand for it, which is kind of odd. But I know that there's an audience out there that would do this, and I think it's really cool that Disney was like, yeah, we'll offer this.
Yeah, because tons of adults go all out, you know, on their own before they come to the park. So it just makes sense for Disney to offer a way to, you know, kind of monetize that, but also, you know, give them an official Disney makeover. So I'm cool with this.
I do appreciate, I feel like they're branching out more into like catering to people like us. And like at first I was kind of irritated by, like, not that irritated because I actually bought this product, them having, like, the meet me at the purple wall hat and stuff, because, and, like, some of the shirts now are really similar to what you find on, like, the Etsy and, you know, Instagram small shops. But at the same time, like, for years before that, I'd been complaining that all of the t-shirts were, like, the unisex and they had characters all over them, and, like, I didn't want that. So they are responding and, like, creating something that people have wanted for a while. So, you know, I have to give them props for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see pictures of, like, the different styles come out.
Yeah, the one thing that kills me about the Bibbity Bobbity Boutique is the hair. Like, it's always the same hairstyle and it's like slick back so tight, it drives me crazy. So I'm interested to see, like, what kind of hairstylists these college program girls actually are when it comes to doing adult hair.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the Bibbity Bobbity Boutique makeovers. Whenever I see the kids with their, like, hair is so packed with gel, it just looks, like, so stiff. I don't want that, but everything else I'm cool with.
Yeah. You can be our test run next time you go.
All right.
So are you guys ready to dive into this week's topic?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's
Cool.
do it.
So, as our listener suggested, we're going to talk about some non-park offerings at Walt Disney World, which there's a lot, and it may surprise people that there's more to do than just go to the parks, so this is going to be exciting. Do you guys want to start with the big obvious, which is the Disney Springs?
I
Yeah.
think that's a good place to start.
I think that's probably the best place to start. So Disney Springs, if you don't know, does not require a park ticket. You can get in pretty much, if you're just driving by, you can go here. And there's tons of awesome stuff to do, from shopping to eating. What do you guys like to do when you come here?
So for me, every time we arrive, we usually get there at night, especially when we lived in South Carolina and we would drive and get there at like 11. We go to Ghirardelli and get a milkshake because it's the best milkshake in the entire world. And if you think there's one better, I don't know you.
I totally agree.
I've actually never had one, so
Well, you're missing out.
And even if you don't go for the milkshake, you can always get free chocolate samples, so that's kind of a plus.
I have done that.
Walk in the door, walk out, walk back in the door.
Ooh, you know what's killer? Around Christmas they have the peppermint bark ones.
Oh, those are good.
And when you, like, walk in, come back out, like, 10 minutes later, go back in.
They had like a weird flavored one when we were there in October. It wasn't peppermint, but it was like caramel or pumpkin. I don't know. It was something weird. I didn't eat it, but my dad did.
They have a pumpkin one, too. I know that.
Okay,
It's like
it must have been
pumpkin
that.
cream or something.
Yeah, that just sounds gross.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, like, there's so much to do here. You could go in any of the stores. My favorite thing to do in Disney Springs is try to catch all the merchandise that I know, like, I missed on my trips but kind of wanted. So that's another idea. I mean, see what kind of stuff you can buy, do some shopping.
My big ones are, I almost always go to the pin store and the Lego store.
Yes.
I love seeing the big Lego sculptures out front. Those, I mean, as many times as I've seen them, they still are pretty awe-inspiring to think that somebody put those together.
Yeah. Have y'all ever noticed? I didn't notice this till our trip in October. They have tiny little plaques on the sides of like the glass enclosures around them, and it tells how many bricks are in each one and how many hours it took to put it together.
Oh,
I've
wow.
noticed the plaques, but I've never actually read them.
Yeah. So go with your families and like make your families guess and then tell them, and they'll be amazed.
That's really cool. I need to check that out. I didn't realize that was there.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check that out next time.
Yeah, I like the art store. That's my favorite.
Oh, that's a good one too.
That's one of my favorite ones to do, too. The only problem that I ever have with it is, like, I could either spend a ton of money there or just, like, try to convince myself that I don't want to take that hit to my bank account.
Yeah, they have some beautiful stuff in there.
I just remembered what the other thing they were taking away is that I heard. It's World of Disney. Stitch is
Yes.
no longer going to squirt water.
What?
Yep.
He's actually already gone.
Oh,
the
my
whole thing is gone?
gosh.
Yeah, he's already gone.
What?
From what I saw.
Well, I know you're upset about that.
I am very upset about that.
That is so rude. Why?
That's a
Probably
thing that,
somebody
like,
got squirted with water who didn't want to and, like, complained. I don't know.
Yeah, I support this decision.
No, it was Brian. He's the one that complained.
Yeah, I wrote a letter.
I would believe
Oh my
that Brian
gosh.
drove there to personally take Stitch down.
Man, that was like between that and the camel in Adventureland. One of my favorite pastimes is watching unsuspecting people get hit.
Well, the funny thing about that is, like, it looks so weird without it. Like, that Stitch was, I don't know, it drew you into that store. Now it's just like a plain flat building. But I guess it doesn't really go with how Disney Springs looks now. Because, and I hate that I'm going to say this, but Disney Springs to me looks like an outdoor shopping mall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what it is, I think, but I'm looking at the picture now and I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
It
But
looks weird.
I do have to say I do like the World of Disney store. That is a fun one to go into and shop around at.
Yeah,
Kill some
that's
time
my
there.
store for when I forgot to get someone a souvenir in the parks.
And they have pretty much everything. Like, if we are in a park and I see something I like, but I'm, like, not 100% that's what I want to spend my money on, I always know that I can go to World of Disney and they'll probably have it. So I'm good.
That or mouse
Yeah.
gear.
Yeah.
But let's talk food in Disney Springs because there's a lot of it. If you guys are in your Disney Springs day, is there a specific place that you have to eat in Springs, or are you just kind of all over the place?
I kind of try to go to places that I haven't been because there's so many options, but I think the place that I hang out most is Jock Lindsay's. Just
That's
because it's
cool.
like a nice little bar and it has like small plates and stuff.
Yeah, I wish that they had had more stuff like that when I was working there because we really only had Earl of Sandwich and like Paradiso 37. I love Morimoto. It's really not my style of food. I like some Asian food, but not all of it. But we did the actual, I think it's one of the few places in the U.S. that can sell legitimate Kobe beef. And like they cook it on this little hot stone at your table. And oh my God, it was like amazing. I mean, if you want to splurge, go there and get some Kobe beef because you will not regret it. Except you, Beth, because you don't eat meat.
I always wanted to try it, so I'll probably have to do it there then.
Well, that's like a good anniversary dinner or something y'all should do because it was amazing.
Nice.
I have to say, I don't really eat much in the Springs. Like, I feel like when we're here, it's usually that, like, quick stop before we're going somewhere, or, like, the last day we're in Disney, and it's like you want to get a quick eat-in before the plane or whatever. I need to spend more time here.
One place that I did go last time that I had never been before that was really good was Bongo's. Have you guys been there?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
So it's the Cuban cafe, and while it is very good, it is also very expensive. Like, I can't remember exactly how much it was. I was with my parents, so I didn't actually have to pay for anything. But we got like I can't even remember what the drink is called now, but it's like this is gonna drive me crazy. Anyway, our drinks that we each got like two or three of them, and they were like $17 or $18 a piece, and we didn't realize that until after the fact.
My God.
Whoa.
And we're like, whoops, but oh well, it was really good. But yeah, the food was really good too, and it was like interesting, like flavors that I don't think would really get elsewhere in Disney Springs especially, but it was It was really good. I would recommend it if you have some money to throw.
That's wow.
Yeah,
I'm still kind of wrapping my head around that price tag. Wow.
Yeah, I was glad I was with my parents.
I see someone else on here put the Edison.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
so
I'm
what
so
was
jealous.
your opinion?
I loved it. We didn't go like to eat. We just went to drink. And we just sat at the bar, and bartender was like super nice. Everybody seemed really like in the theme, and it was really immersive in my opinion. And the drinks were all really good, and the atmosphere was amazing. I have like a weird fascination with steampunk anyway.
Oh,
but
so
it's
that
just,
probably was right up your alley.
Yeah, but it's really well done. And one thing that I didn't realize was a thing at the Edison until we went. We're sitting at the bar, and this guy walks up in like steampunk garb, and he's like, "Hey, my name is Rory such and such, whatever. I'm an inventor here." And like went on this little spiel about his inventions, and then he like pulls some stuff out of his bag and showed us like different like experiments. Like we made like a light up because of like the connectivity of our, I don't know, skin or something. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was just really cool that they had that little kind of character experience that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that is really cool.
But yeah, it's really a neat place. I would definitely check it out. And when we went, it was like, I don't know, middle of the day, and it was not very busy at all. So easy to just walk in. And I have a friend that lives down there, and I think at night after like 9 or 10, it's 21 up. But they have different types of entertainment, like people that do like the silk ropes, like acrobatic type of thing. Yeah, stuff like that. And they've had like jazz bands or like, I don't know, tap dancers. Like it varies depending on the night. So it's like a cool little night spot too.
Yeah, I'm super jealous. I wanted to go there so bad. I've been so excited about it, and obviously it wasn't open by the time when we went in October and November, so I was very upset.
Next time.
So someone else also put AMC Dine-In. Who has had that experience? Because I'm interested.
That was also me.
So what was
Have you guys done this? This isn't like a Springs exclusive thing, but it's the first time I had ever done it.
I've done it in other places, but not there.
Well, I absolutely loved this, and I wish this was the standard at movie theaters. Like, at least, you know, you have 1 or 2 theaters, which is what Disney Springs has a ton of, it's like 24 screens or something, right? And I think a handful of them are the dine-in experience, so you don't have to do it, but it's really cool because you go in, like when you buy your ticket, you pick your seats, and you go to your seats, and there's like a little button that you can press, and like your waiter or waitress will come out and they'll take your order. You could order drinks, and they have like meals, and they have small plates, and whatever pretty much you want, and they'll bring it to you during the movie, and you can just like chow down and drink, and if you need anything, you just press that button and they'll come back. It's like, I thought it was a really legit lazy experience.
So I don't know how big y'all's towns are, besides you, Beth. I know how big Columbia is. But in Dallas now, that it basically is the standard. So like, I'm so used to, like, we will not go to a movie theater now that does not have reclining reserved seats.
Same.
And like we just went to a movie the other day at a brand new one with food, and it's like everywhere here does it. I honestly wish there were fewer places that did it, because like I don't want to spend more money if I'm not hungry. Like I just want to watch a movie. But yeah, so I haven't done it there, but in general, I mean, it's like a fun experience if you've never done it. And that would be probably a fun place to do it, especially to see a Disney movie.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard that if, like, whenever they're doing, like, it's the first night of a Disney movie or a Marvel movie playing, that they'll do, like, a little red carpet that they roll out for everybody that walks in and little special event type of things. I've never done that, but
I did go to that theater to see the Pirates of the Caribbean, the one with the mermaids, whatever one that one was. And we went on the first night, and it was like, it was like that. I was kind of done up more than usual.
Nice. I've never done a movie here. I've done one in Universal, but that was just a movie-going experience, not anything special.
Yeah, it's like, I think going to a movie isn't something that a lot of people think about when they're on a vacation, but I think it's a really fun thing to do just in general, not specifically here. Just kind of get to a little quiet place, and I don't know.
Especially if it's hot outside and you just need a break, your kid needs a nap, like whatever, take them to the movie, they can sleep there.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have done... Oh, I accidentally just deleted it. I have done this other thing that's on the list. Splitsville. Has anyone else done this?
Mm-mm.
I haven't.
It's cool. We ate there. We didn't really bowl there, but we walked around and looked at their bowling alley. Their food is pretty okay. The pizza's really good, but it's definitely something to do if you don't have a park ticket.
But it's nothing special. It's just bowling, basically.
Yeah, like I said, the food is good. They have pizza that's really good. I mean, it's not anywhere near Via Napoli level, but it's pretty good for Disney pizza. But other than that, I mean, it's a bowling alley.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of these things are probably, the movie theater in Splitsville, probably most of their crowd is going to be cast members or, college program kids and locals.
Or, like, the thing that we used to do with Downtown Disney a lot was we would go there, like I said, on our last day or the first day of our trip if we didn't have park tickets. Like, if we flew in late, it would be a Disney Springs day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the audience that they're really tailored towards, is the people that don't have the ticket, but...
Yeah, and work conferences, because they do have quite a few, especially, like, at Coronado Springs and all that. So I know it's pretty common for people to go there, and that's... something to entertain those people.
So, next one that we had on this list. Are we done with Disney Springs? Do we want to move on to the next category? Okay.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we had was resort hopping, which I think is probably the best use of your time if you're not going to be in any of the parks. Obviously, you can go to any resort, you can visit any resort for free. You don't have to be staying there to visit them. There are some amenities, like the pools and stuff, that you do have to be staying on property for some of the hotels for. But other than that, they also have a lot to offer. So where do you guys want to start with resort hopping? Because I know we all have differing opinions on this one.
I have a lot of strong opinions because I spent a lot of my spare time doing this when I lived there. I especially have strong opinions on each resort's, like, quick service. Well, like the deluxe resort quick services. I definitely prefer some to others, and, like, there's some that I refuse to eat at, and,
So which ones do you prefer?
I love Contempo Cafe. But I also think I'm partially biased because I love the contemporary so much. But when we had, my roommate and I, we would sometimes, when we both had time off at the same time, we would take a deck of cards, go to a resort, and get lunch and just, like, sit there and play cards. And it was just so nice and relaxing. So I love Contempo Cafe. I hate that the boardwalk doesn't have a quick service. It's very odd to me. Like, I know they have the restaurants around there, but it still feels weird and like they're lacking something, that they don't have an actual quick service in the resort. And I don't like Grand Floridian Cafe. Animal Kingdom Lodge, I like. It's definitely, I think they have the most unusual stuff, or they did. I'm sure they've changed the menu since then. And I never really spent a lot of time at Polly's quick service, but I've heard good things about it.
Interesting. So, if you're resort hopping, if you're just going to any Disney resort, where's your place to start at?
Well, so I put 3 different resorts, and I would do 3 different things at them. So
I noticed. That's why I was like, let me see where she wants to start with this. So.
the boardwalk, our top 2 resorts, my husband and I, we both love the boardwalk. We both love contemporary. So, but the boardwalk, so when you walk into the lobby and you turn right, they have that little bar area, and they have back in the corner shelves with like a bunch of board games, and you can just take the game and play them, or play it and then like put it back. So my husband and I have done that, during an afternoon. I think it was rainy. We had been at Epcot, so we went to the boardwalk, got a game, got something to drink, and just sat and played for a while the rain went away. And like you can sit right next to the window and watch people as they walk by, and see outside on the little lawn, and it's just relaxing. And then I like sunset at Animal Kingdom Lodge, obviously for the safari, and the animals are always kind of more active, either early in the morning or in the evening. So that's a fun thing to do, especially if you're going to have dinner at one of the amazing restaurants that's at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which you should, because Sanaa is amazing. It's like one of my favorites. And then finally, hammocks at the Polynesian on the beach. I definitely love those. When I worked there, I worked at the Transportation and Ticket Center, and I would get off around between like noon and 3 most of the time. And so I would just like go change clothes, get out of my horrible polyester uniform, and like get in a hammock and hang out. And when they do the day, like the stage shows, you can see the fireworks and hear them, and just see people walking around, and it's just like so relaxing. That's my whole point of like a resort hopping no park day, is relaxing. And that's definitely like one of the most relaxing things there is just taking a nap in a hammock on a beach, but you're at Disney World.
And I think a lot of people forget that you can do that, which like to me, I feel like resort hopping is one of the best like free things that you could possibly do in Disney.
Yeah, I mean, they're so well themed. Like, there's so much to see. And depending on what time of year, like Easter eggs at the Grand Floridian, and like the gingerbread house at the Grand Floridian. And when we were there in October, they had this pumpkin carving contest set up at the boardwalk, like with all these amazing carved pumpkins. I mean, there's just always something to see. It's definitely not just like going to a hotel.
I also think we've mentioned on here before, not just with Christmas, but with Halloween and maybe even Christmas, the Fort Wilderness campgrounds. I know that's Brian's resort.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you want to touch on that one, but...
Oh, yeah, one of the best things to do, in my opinion, at Christmas time is to just go around Fort Wilderness and see all the lights that the people staying there put up. It's really cool. It's really like a Disney community type of thing. And because some people really go all out with it, so it's very cool to see.
That's awesome.
And there's like a kind of like a cult following for that too. Like, it's not just little tiny lights, it's like full on light shows.
Oh yeah.
Like,
and
that's
like
awesome.
The big inflatables that people put up. I mean, it's seriously insane to see. It's hard to describe because, I mean, most people would think that people would bring all that stuff with them when they're coming and then set it up, but they do, and it's really cool to see. And if you go around and walk it, and at the campgrounds, a lot of people are just sitting out around their campers or their tents and stuff at night, and they love to talk about their setup and everything, and like if there's special meaning behind it or how long they've been staying. It's just a really great way to go and interact with other people that are obviously very into Disney too.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's something that I've been meaning to check out, but haven't been to Disney around Christmas time in several years.
It's well worth a trip.
I would also say on a much smaller scale that I really enjoy not necessarily doing this as an activity, but if you're staying at a resort, just making a point to check out people's windows, because they do, like a smaller kind of idea similar to that. People decorate their windows, and it's cool to see people's little displays.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting ones for that. One time when we went around Christmas, someone had a Olaf inflatable in their window, and I was kind of confused as to why they would bring that with them. But I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I decorated my window when we stayed at Port Orleans, and while I'm glad that I did it, it was really annoying to pack specific stuff like that that had no other purpose. But it was worth it and cute, because I had a cast member knock on our door, and I opened it, and I was thinking, like, oh gosh, she's going to make me take it, because I had stuff on the outside too, and I read that you're not supposed to put stuff on the outside, but I did it anyway. I was like, oh man, she's going to make me take my stuff down. And so I opened the door, and I kind of looked out sheepishly, and she's just like, I just wanted to tell you that I love your window. It's one of the cutest ones, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. She's not making me take it down.
So what else do you guys want to discuss in resort hopping? Because there's a lot here. There's a lot that you can do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just to kind of lump everything together with bars and lounges, because that's kind of my scene. But obviously, the great-great-granddaddy of all bars is Trader Sam's.
Yep.
The most awesome experience. I would argue that it's one of the most awesome experiences you can have outside of the park.
I would completely agree with that.
I would agree.
I've never been there, so.
Oh, man.
Well, okay, so I told them this on one of the episodes that we discussed it, but I don't know if I've told you this. The only time that I actually really had a chance to go here was when the Haunted Mansion Tiki mugs were out, and I really wanted to go because I really wanted one. And then I realized that the line to get in was super long, so I was like, no, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I can't really blame you there. I wouldn't want to just stand in line for 3 hours or whatever for a mug, much less just to get in.
Yeah.
I also kind of wanted my first experience to be, like, a good one, and I felt like that just waiting 3 hours to get in would have put, like, a damper on the whole thing.
Yeah, I will say, though, that just for anyone out there that may not know, they don't take reservations here, so you're gonna have to wait some amount of time probably, but they'll, you go and sign in, and they'll give you a buzzer, and you can actually, we went at nighttime, and like, I don't know, it was kind of early evening, I guess, and they had a band playing out on the terrace, so that was kind of cool that we just got to hang out outside of there and watch the band and enjoy the atmosphere until our buzzer went off.
Well, and they will let you put your name on the list an hour before they open. So I think they open at 4. So when we went to my one of my good friends' Disney weddings in November, they were having their like rehearsal dinner at Kona Cafe, and so we got there early and put our name on the list at 3, and we're waiting and went in at 4, and all had like drank and hung out beforehand. So if you're, like, want to chill for your afternoon, what we usually do is put our name on the list, get our buzzer, and then you can go get a Dole Whip while you wait, and then when it's 4, you can go in.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
So I will kind of steer this off of the Trader Sam's for a minute, but speaking of lounges and bars, resort entertainment. Some of the resorts have entertainment that you can kind of go to and see different things. My favorite, for example, is Yeehaw Bob at Port Orleans. Nice little piano kind of comedy show to go check out. And it's free, so...
Similarly, I've heard really good things about Jelly Rolls, but I've never actually been.
I've heard good things about Jelly Rolls, but I've never been there either.
It's a piano bar, right?
Yes, and they serve like free popcorn or something. I've never been. My parents went when we were there in October, and they had a blast. I think the guy was playing, a bunch of old music and, well, okay, old, like 80s music, whatever, Elton John, that kind of thing. So they really enjoyed it. So it's like, that's probably a good thing too for people who are there, like with their parents or, older people, like they would enjoy that as well. Speaking of pianos, I love the pianist at the Grand Floridian who plays in the evenings. Yes. It's like once again, just so relaxing and so fun to listen to them play, you know, Disney songs. And every once in a while you'll see like there's a little girl dressed up like a princess and they're playing Beauty and the Beast, and like she makes her dad dance with her, and it's like the cutest thing in the world. So that's always fun.
That's cute.
That is really cute. I always feel out of place when I go into the Grand. But it is really fun to watch them, like, you know, play piano and stuff like that. I love that the resorts have that kind of entertainment. It just makes resort hopping so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing that we had on here that I think is kind of neat are the bike rentals and carriage rides. Have you guys done any of them?
We rented bikes when we stayed at Port Orleans, which was really cool because we just, you know, say what you will about Magic Bands, but that was the most convenient thing ever because literally all I took out of the room was a Magic Band because I had my room key on it, obviously, had my credit card on it, and just like went to the bike stand, paid with my Magic Band, and then we rode to the pool at French Quarter, got drinks at the bar with the Magic Bands. It was just like the most carefree, amazing thing, and just riding along the river was really nice and pretty, and I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, we did the Surrey bikes one time, and that was really fun. Definitely recommend it for like a relaxing kind of day.
Yeah, I've wanted to do the Surrey bikes, but just never got around to it.
They're fun if your entire family is able to, like, figure it out. If, like, one person doesn't cooperate, it is not fun.
I would pretend to not figure it out so I wouldn't have to actually do any work.
That is exactly what my little cousin did the one time that we rented it, and we all had to do, like, double the work because one person wasn't pedaling.
Yep, that would be me.
Have you guys pool hopped? I know I said that some of the pools are, like, exclusive to people staying on property.
Basically
that's
all
usually,
of them now.
Well, that's all the DVC ones, I think.
No, you can't. You're not supposed to go in any pool unless you have a Magic Band.
Okay, so we will not talk about that.
But I mean, and okay, it used to be a lot easier to sneak in. I think I've never actually done it because I'm like a giant chicken, and I was afraid I would go to Disney jail.
Disney jail doesn't sound like such a bad thing.
But like, no, I would cry if a security guard ever came up to me and even halfway questioned me. And so, but it used to be a lot easier for people to sneak in because I know a lot of college programmers used to do it. But I don't think with Magic Bands it's quite as easy. Maybe in some of the pools, like I know some resorts have multiples. You know, Poly has their big pool with the waterfall and the slide, but they also have a really, like a small one over by some other buildings. So I don't know if those are gated now as well, or what. But I mean, we don't condone pool hopping, but it does happen.
While we don't necessarily condone it, I actually, when we went to the pool at French Quarter, my best friend and his boyfriend, who both are cast members, you know, so that maybe played a part in it, but they actually asked, like, hey, my friend's staying here and she wanted to go to, like, have a pool day, like, is it fine? And they, like, basically, they said they didn't care without saying they didn't care. So I don't think that it's necessarily, like, if obviously you're not going to get into, like, was it Stormalong Bay or whatever, or, you know, something that's super popular, super gated, but I think if you're nice and you don't cause a scene and whatever, then they'll probably let you slide without actually saying that you're breaking the rules.
I also think it's probably different because you guys were probably staying at Riverside at that point, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of like almost the same hotel. I feel like that maybe had a part in it, but I don't know. I think like the good ones are gated off, which is sad because, you know, those are the fun ones that you want to go in. But from what I remember, the moderates aren't. Like we said, we don't condone pool hopping because that could potentially get you in trouble. But that's all I'm going to say. That's
yeah,
all
I'm pretty
gonna
sure
say.
neither of the pools at Port Orleans are gated. So, well, I think actually French Quarter there's like a gate, but it's not like high security or anything.
And from what I remember, the pool at Caribbean Beach was probably the best part of that resort, and it wasn't gated, but again, don't condone it because could potentially get you in trouble with security guards.
If you go to Disney jail, don't complain to us.
Yes.
But do take pictures and send them. I want to see what it looks like.
I imagine it's not that bad of a place.
Do they
It's probably just a room,
With pictures of Mickey all over the wall.
right?
It's like the Dare style posters that say like don't do drugs, but it's got Mickey pointing.
I imagine they like have you come in, take your picture, and then like turn sideways for your profile picture, and then they tap your magic band to put it on it.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Awesome.
Do you guys want to cover the activities that you had in here? Because there were a couple things that you guys had as well.
Okay, I love putt-putt. I know I've said it before, but there's 2 different courses on Disney property. There's the Winter Summerland that's right next to Blizzard Beach, and then there's Fantasia Gardens, which is right next to the boardwalk, I think. But both of them are really cool. If you even want to go off of Disney property, there's some pretty cool ones right down from Disney Springs that you can check out too. But I recommend the Disney ones. I think they're really good, and plus, you know, you get that cool, funny, quirky Disney theming. So that's the ones I would go with.
Yeah, I love mini golf. And so also there are 2 courses, but each course has like 2 different courses.
Right.
So you can play, like if you have time, you can do both courses, you know, at one location. I've done one at each place, and I've always had fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like putt in general, but I've never felt compelled to do it at Disney because I go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina almost every summer, which I don't know if Kirsten, you may be familiar with it, but it's like putt capital of the world. There's literally like a putt course every mile or 2. So it's just like, I've played enough putt, but doing it at Disney I think would be cool, especially if, you know, the theming is nice like you guys say it is.
Yeah, and especially for kids, like it's super fun and like it'll wear them out, so then they'll go to sleep.
We can already see where Kirsten's mind is headed.
For sure.
Yeah, I've never done mini golf at Disney, so I can't say anything about that.
On a similar note, though, I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of or done Top Golf, but
Oh yeah, they have it here in Dallas.
yeah, so there's a couple in the United States and a couple over in like the Middle East, I think. But it's not obviously not Disney, but it's in the Orlando area and it's super fun. It's basically like a really big like golf range, whatever you call it, where you just like hit balls, but they have like colored holes and you try to like get the like highest scores or whatever, and it's basically like a reason for people to drink and hit golf balls, but it's super fun. And even though it doesn't, I'm not making it sound very fun at all. We had a really good time, and you can get food and drinks and stuff, and they have a bunch of TVs, but you know, your group gets like a little, they call it a bay, and it's just like a little area where you guys have your table and little computer with your scores on it and stuff, and everybody kind of goes in rotation and hits balls and tries to beat everybody's score.
So
it's
it
really
sounds
fun.
like
It's like a driving range with games, basically.
Yeah,
sounds
basically.
it sounds like a driving range mixed with like a bowling alley.
Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison. But
Interesting.
it's fun. Especially if you like golf and you don't actually want to go play like a round of golf or whatever. Like my dad loves golf, but he was not going to convince any of us to actually go to a golf course. But we went to Top Golf and he had a blast.
It sounds like fun. I mean, I'm not a golf person.
I'm not either, but I was surprised at how much fun I had.
Nice. So, Brian, you had on here activities around the hotel. Do you want to cover that one? I know it was kind of with our resort hopping, but I like this one, so we should definitely talk about this.
Yeah, sure. A lot of the resorts will do outdoor movies at night, and a lot of them do it around the pool, which is pretty cool. So you can go either grab a lounge chair and just kind of like kick back and watch the movie, or you can even get in the pool and watch it. They're a lot of fun. Obviously, they normally play Disney movies, but that's something to check out. And then just some of the other stuff. A lot of the higher end resorts have a spa that you can go, or you can obviously resort hop to one of the ones that has a spa and check that out. I've never done that, but I've heard good experiences from people that have. And other than that, I know I keep kind of jumping back to it, but at Fort Wilderness, there's so many cool little activities that you can do. They have the Chip and Dale like sing-along marshmallow roast thing where they play a lot of the old Disney shorts, and I love like classic Disney shorts, so we would always do that when I was a kid. And there, on top of that, there's tons of other stuff to do around there. But sticking to kind of other resorts, we've touched on a lot of stuff like at Port Orleans, like the bike rides and that kind of stuff. But just when you get to whatever resort you're staying at, just go up to the concierge and kind of ask them what kind of stuff they have going on, and they'll fill you out. A lot of times they have little activity guides that you can pick up and kind of plan out for however long you're staying a night that you might like to stick around the resort and do some things.
This is actually one of the main reasons that I always suggest to people on like their first trip not to do like a mobile check-in or anything, because you can get all that information from the concierge desk. And a lot of times now, like I don't do mobile check-in ever with Disney, but usually, like even when we're checking in at Port Orleans, they'll always give us a rundown of what kind of activities they have. So it's nice to just kind of get that idea from your resort when you first check in. So just a fun little tip.
Yeah, and they like telling you, like they want you to have fun. So,
right.
And a lot of people don't know about all that stuff. So if they can tell somebody and like get more people there, like yay. I will say I've been to the spa. So there's a spa at Saratoga, and then there's also one at Grand Floridian. I've only been to the Grand Floridian one, but it's definitely, what you would expect from any spa. I don't get massages because I don't like them. But I got a facial, my mom got a massage, and we both had a really good time, great masseuse, all that. So if a spa is like a normal thing that you do, you would definitely enjoy the spa there.
Well, I'm glad that you had a positive experience with that, because I don't think I know anyone that's done that.
Yeah, I wanted to last time because they have the Disney Jamberry nail wraps. So I wanted to get a manicure, but I just didn't find the time.
Yeah, and it's definitely, like if your whole point of not going to the park is you don't want to spend the money, like the spa's probably not right for you, because it's definitely like the normal expense, if not more, that a spa would be. But, if you are just there and you want to have a relaxing day, that's a great way to do it.
Nice.
Cool. Was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on? Because I think we are at the end of our list.
Just as a side note, because my theme, I guess, has been not necessarily Disney-themed things, but there are some pretty cool local spots outside of the area. So if you're kind of trying to get that experience of maybe you're Disneyed out, if that's possible, I know that happens to a lot of people, and you just want to kind of go nearby, these kind of video game bars have been popping up all over the place, but there's one in Orlando that's pretty close to Disney called Player One, and it's super fun. They have a ton of games, like arcade games and Guitar Hero and Super Smash Brothers, and you just pay like a flat fee to get in, and then you can play whatever you want. So I just think stuff like that is pretty cool, because we don't have one where I live in Columbia, but they have them in bigger cities.
And we talked about the mini golf and Top Golf. Did we talk about actual golf at Disney World?
We didn't.
Okay, because and it reminded me because when I was working there, my family came to visit me. My mom and I went to the spa while my dad and my brother, I think, went to play golf. I can't remember, but yeah, they do have, I think, 2 golf courses on Disney property that you can go to. One is over Shades of Green, I think, where the military people stay. There's one over there, and then there's another one, and they actually have like some sort of PGA tournament on one of the locations every year, I think. I could be totally wrong about all this, but I know they at least have had tournaments in the past, so they're pretty good courses. So that's always an option for people who do like golf. And if you don't like golf, you can also go fishing. That just reminded me as well. You can have like an actual fisherman person take you out to fish. I think they leave from the Contemporary. I think you have to throw everything back, but that's an option.
I will say, I honestly have no experience with the golf courses, other than the one time that we stayed at Old Key West. Our room faced the golf courses, and they looked really nice, so I'll recommend them based on that. But you could also, quick side note, if you really wanted to get off of Disney property, I know we kind of touched on this in one of our other episodes, but you could probably get an Uber or some sort of transportation to City Walk, and you don't need a ticket to get into City Walk. I would probably say check that out because I do enjoy City Walk myself.
Yeah, I like City Walk too. I think it's a more adult based Disney Springs. It's but I think it's really cool. They have some cool stores. They have some good restaurants. Side note, though, if you didn't listen to the episode where we talked about it, while you don't have to have a ticket to get in, you do have to go through security. So just keep that in mind.
So don't take your concealed weapon.
Right. Like my southern dad who had a pocket knife. They had to hold it for him until we left.
At least they didn't throw it away.
Yeah, I think it was like the guy, like the security guard was a Marine and my dad was a Marine, so they had that thing going on. I don't know if they are going to do that for everybody, but just don't take your chances. You southern boys with your pocket knives.
Hey now.
Brian, I knew it. I was like, I bet Brian carries a pocket knife. I mean, you're from Georgia. What? Like, how could you not?
Right, yeah. Clearly, obviously.
It's funny.
So is there anything you guys want to talk about this week before we tie it up?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to respond to listener Maria, who had commented on our episode about Extreme Disney, and basically what she was saying was if you watch the sky, then you can usually get inside before the rain starts pouring. And she also suggested that if the weather looks bad, you can make it a resort day. So that kind of goes into this episode where we're talking about lots of resort things to do. But if the weather is bad, cast members will have rainy day activities and they'll bring out pin boards. She had mentioned that a lot of the pins that she had seen were kind of obscure and that they had actual like baskets full of pins. And I had never seen a basket of pins, so I thought that was interesting. But she was mentioning that while they were in the parks, that a lot of the rides had really low wait times, that they only had to wait 20 minutes for Frozen Ever After. People were walking on to Flight of Passage, so yeah, that's pretty insane. I've never had that kind of good luck, but, if you get lucky, then I'm super jealous. I don't mind being in the rain if I get to walk onto Flight of Passage, but, other than that, she was saying that she had gone to Busch Gardens in the rain and that all of their outdoor attractions would close 20 minutes every time the lightning struck, so that Disney is her pick for the best theme park in the rain. So if it looks like bad weather, then at least you're in the right place.
Nice. So anything else you guys want to touch on before we close out this week?
I think I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm out of the loop, so.
And I mean, there's nothing exciting going on in our little world over here. But welcome back again, Kirsten. We're so happy that you were able to make it back to us.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for joining us again on another episode of the Station 71 podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast from. While you're there, leave us a review as well so we can share your questions, comments, concerns on the show. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on facebook.com/Station71pod, Twitter @Station71pod, Instagram @Station71podcast, and you can shoot us a listener email to station71podcast@gmail.com. We hope you enjoyed your ride, and we'll see you real soon.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.